What do we want to eat in the summertime? We want to eat something that's really refreshing. In Korea, it's all about temperature. So in the wintertime, you're eating soups that are really hot, like boiling hot in these hot stone bowls, or dishes that are really icy and cold. And that's something that we were really intrigued by with this dish, was like just how cold it is. Hey guys, what's up? I'm Danny Bowien.
I'm Angela Dimayuga.
And we're here at the MUNCHIES Test Kitchen.
We're making a chewy buckwheat noodle with icy beef broth today. It's called naengmyeon.
Typically, if you have the watery naengmyeon with the broth, it's like a beef broth with a bunch of ice in it, but we've kind of taken out the broth element and we're just putting the ice on top.
Just straight ice.
Prep work is just in like preparing the condiments. Angela's gonna show how she does like a mustard cured egg. We'll talk about the broth beef broth that we're gonna make, that we turn into an ice or granita, and then the chili condiment that we're gonna dress the noodles in.
So the first step to making your chilled noodles is making the broth. You can use just beef broth that you buy at the grocery store, but this is like a really concentrated broth that we use at Mission Chinese when we sous vide our brisket. And then just some really nice chicken stock. You can just buy both of those things just at the supermarket. I thought that the best way to add some umami and flavor is by using kombu. So we'll add 1 sheet of that there, and then 2 pieces of shiitake mushroom, and then some aromatic and flavoring from ginger and garlic. Kombu is just a seaweed that we use it a lot in braising techniques because it provides a lot of umami flavoring.
What's really interesting about this is that I've seen a lot of people take this and it looks dirty, it looks sandy, right? This is actually sand, this is actually glutamic acid. When MSG was developed, they were really trying to reproduce what this white stuff is on here, which is this is just high levels of glutamic acid, which provide umami. It provides that 5th taste. So whenever you go eat at a Chinese restaurant or a Japanese restaurant and it tastes so delicious, it's because either they're finding ways to build glutamic acid, which occurs naturally in things like seaweed, tomatoes, or they're just using MSG. Don't go too crazy because it is a strong flavor. You want basically the broth to kind of taste like beefy ocean flavor, if that makes sense.
We usually just bring it up to a boil and then simmer for an hour or 2.
You think of stock, you think of Thanksgiving. Stock is easy. It's just like making like meat tea, if you think about it. You get some water hot, don't let it rip because you don't want to boil tea anyways. It gets really bitter, it brings out the bad qualities in tea. Same thing with making a stock. Just think of it like meat tea.
So we're gonna make a condiment for you guys. So these are perfectly cooked hard-boiled eggs that are buried in mustard to cure. We like to do a 9-minute egg, so that means get your water boiling and drop some eggs directly into the water and have an ice bath ready, so then you're gonna just have a timer on for 9 minutes and shock it so you get a perfectly yellow, firm cooked egg. So we just like Dijon mustard because it's really spicy. And then just to thin it out, we just have some white wine. What I'll do is just take the eggs and then roll them through the mustard.
And because of high levels of salt and acid, it does cure the egg.
Yeah, it preserves the egg, it keeps it nice and firm. And then what I would do is just plastic wrap this and throw it directly into your refrigerator. You can eat this in 2 or 3 days and it'll definitely have this mustard flavor.
So these are a finished version of the eggs, right?
And that's something that you can keep in your fridge for several weeks, just like a regular pickled egg.
So we got the eggs done, we got the broth working. When the broth comes off, what do you do then? You just throw it right in the freezer?
Yeah, so once the broth comes off, we'll just strain it and then just throw it right into any container. This is ready to turn into granita, so this is just frozen solid, and what I do is just take a fork and then you can just easily scrape that. You can just break this into chunks right away and serve it. We have like smaller pieces here and then like nice chunky bits, so as you're eating the noodles, you still have some frozen solid pieces that you're still enjoying the ice.
So basically, we grilled off some peaches and some chilies. We're gonna blacken them on the grill and then ferment them with fish sauce and brown rice vinegar. You can use nectarines, you can use any stone fruit you want. It's usually got pear. What do we have, like 5 or 6 chilies here? I'm basically gonna break these up with my hands and throw them into the mortar and pestle. And look, what we're looking for here is like basically a really nice balance of salt and acid. So you want this to basically taste sweet and sour. When we talk about fermentation, all we're talking about is taking something, adding enough salt to it to where it won't spoil, and letting it set out and bring out another depth of flavor. I think for this amount of chilies, I would probably add about a teaspoon of salt. People do mortar and pestle things. You know, basically you want to start out by just smashing stuff and kind of get everything to kind of form into a paste. And when you get it to like a workable stage, when all those pieces of this flesh aren't really huge, skin starts to break down a little bit, you can start to just kind of go in like a clockwise or counterclockwise direction, just using your wrist, and then until this gets really nicely smashed up. For this amount, I'd probably add about a tablespoon and a half of fish sauce, and then that brown rice vinegar that we had right there. I'll probably add the same amount, maybe 2 tablespoons of rice vinegar there. All I have to do now is just kind of work this around. I will peel the peach, because I don't want all the peach skin on here. I'm just gonna gently mash these peaches. And then I would just let this sit out and ferment in a nice glass mason jar that's been sterilized, and then just let it sit out. Let it, like, when you start seeing like activity, it will start to bubble a little bit, then I think you're getting pretty close.
This is just an optional garnish. We like to serve cold pork belly because we like the texture.
So how did you cook the belly? What'd you do to the belly?
The way that we do it here is really simply. We take a raw pork belly, coat that with a very small amount of oil, season it aggressively on all the sides with salt. It cooks pretty quickly because we don't want it to get really broken down. We love that texture of the pork belly fat and the skin. And then just roast that for about 1 hour and 15, and then we just cool that immediately, and then that's the product that we have here.
So you can use bacon, you can use boiled chicken, you can use whatever you want.
It's just depending on the flavors that you like. We like the fattiness of this. And then we're gonna get the mustard egg ready again. So these ones have been cured for about a week. We broke out our old school egg slicer that's perfect for this.
So we picked some stuff from the garden, it's pretty cool. What else do we have?
Sesame leaf, which we brought. It's really common in Korean food. It has a really beautiful anise flavor, so we like to use that a lot. And then we have pepper leaves that we just got from the garden. Actually provides like a really nice numbing quality to it, so we like that. Then Danny's shipping out some kaffir lime leaf, and then we have some onion flowers, pepper flowers. So those will be really good on the noodles as well. So you could just use whatever you like, mint, basil.
So let's talk about the noodles really fast. The noodles you can get dried or frozen.
They come in a variety of different colors based on flour blends. This one is primarily buckwheat, and it almost looks like Coca-Cola colored.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's really cool, and so it has a really nice fragrance of buckwheat. It has this like natural sweet and nuttiness to it that really shines through all of the bold flavors that we're gonna use.
So let's cook some noodles and then eat this thing. So this water, do we season it all or no?
Yeah, so we're gonna season both the water. Super important to season the water and season the shocking water. Taste it. If it tastes like seawater, then you kind of seasoned it properly, just like when you're making pasta. So the idea is you drop it in quickly in the seasoned water, probably 15 seconds. And at this point, you want to have everything ready to go because you kind of have to work fast. This part is really key. You want to draw out as much of this water as possible by shaking it, and then transfer it over here to your ice bath, and then agitate it really quickly. You also want to shake all the water off of this. So this is going to go into our bowl here, and when you order these at a Korean restaurant, they always cut it tableside, but we like to just cut it in advance so that we don't have to mess around with having more utensils on the table.
We'll just season it really quick. We'll take some of this chili and peach condiment, and then I also like to add just a little shot of vinegar, and so I will like use some of this brown rice vinegar here. And just because I know how I like it, I'm gonna add a little bit more. That, a little bit more vinegar. And then I think we're ready to plate this. We'll put a little bit of this kaffir lime leaf that we shredded underneath. It's really crazy. The kaffir lime adds like so much flavor to these. It's really insane. It's all about like having these layers of flavor that are kind of like surprises.
So we'll break up the granita, and what we like to do is probably add about a cup each to each bowl, and we like to just cover the noodles. So there's that action of reaching in to grab the noodles and then you're pulling it out of ice, which I think is really fun.
If we want to get fancy, we can put some of these like cool flowers on top.
We just wanted to keep it simple so that what you have here, it's kind of like just eating pho, where you have your noodles and your soup, and then you can kind of go in and add things, or take a bite of the noodles and then take a bite of pork or the egg and really taste what's going on.
It's like a choose your own adventure kind of thing.
It looks like Coke slushies. It smells really good with the flowers on top.
Yeah.
That's the bomb.
I know, man. We gotta get
so
those.
good.
I love that pop of color, the purple and everything. They need to be seasoned more? Is it good? Need more acid at all or no? Do we not cut it up enough?
It's good.
Yeah.
It smells really
good. It
good.
smells really good. It's
pretty good.
It's so cold.
Yeah.
It's really good. All right, guys, don't be shy.
Get in there while it's cold.